Says we are live. Hello, Gun Nation. Let us know if you see us, or if y'all have the let us know when we're live.
Let's see. We are live, I
I think
believe.
we are.
Yep.
How are
Yep.
you
Good to
gentlemen
go.
doing this evening?
Doing all right.
Doing great.
Good to have you back, KS.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. So what's going on this evening? What's the news in y'all's area? Anything? I know of course 17. The New York. We've been hearing about that, but what all's been going on?
Case, would you like to go first?
Well, sure. Thankfully, we're not experiencing anything like New York. On the Kansas side of Kansas City, anyways, it's relatively quiet, but we're pretty well shut down too. So everybody seems to be staying in their home and minding their p's and q's for the most part. And I think just that with the idea of hopefully getting through this, so businesses can open up and you can get out and enjoy things again.
Yeah. What about you, 17?
The usual. Yesterday there was from yesterday to today there was a big jump in the death count, so we almost hit 800 people died. Obviously, if you've been reading, we also surpassed the total of victims during 9/11. So that's maybe that should put it in perspective for people who don't believe the numbers, so to speak. It's the usual stuff. I did have to go out a little bit today, and I did notice a lot of people not taking practical precautions. Getting really close to people in the pharmacy I was at, just being stupid. Whether you believe it or not, whether you think it's a government plan or whatever, just use precautions and just be
Yeah.
smart. But other than that, we went for a run. It was a beautiful day. It was rainy, but then it cleared up, so we went for a run as a family, which was nice. And we're surviving.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you and your families are doing well. It was actually 94 degrees here, super sunny. I mean, beautiful, and definitely warm. So I don't know if the warm is going to help this. I don't know if the cold. I don't know. You know, I don't know. But hopefully we'll get these get all this mess out of our way. And I was telling these gentlemen here, I got another letter today, pushed farther back in furlough, which is probably going to happen to a lot of people, and never a good thing for anything like that. So and I hope everyone is staying well and safe. And this is just an awful deal we're all going through, and we're going to have to, hopefully we will come out better at the end. I know there's going to be a lot of aftermath, so to say, but hopefully we can all hang in there and stick with it and do the right thing. But
Interestingly enough, when we were driving today, there were more people on the roads walking as groups or families, and crazy enough, they're all waving.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's actually increased, politeness, which again, there's always a positive out of everything negative. You just got to find it and look closely. But it was kind of funny. We were laughing about it. Everybody was waving and smiling. I'm like, holy shit, is this New York? But I guess it just kind of hopefully brings people back down to earth, and gets rid of a lot of the nonsense. But I'm sure once it kind of goes away, everybody will kind of go back to the same routine, which kind of sucks, but
Right.
yeah.
it is what it is.
In our neighborhood, there's a guy that has a really huge flag. I mean, it's huge. It's like a big American flag, but it's a yellow, bright yellow flag, and it has a big smiley face on it. And I don't know if that's like, hey, remember to smile, or I don't know what it is. But every time I walk by it, it makes me smile. So I guess that's what he's trying to do. I don't know. But all right, yeah, I was gonna say we kind of waited to do a roll call because everybody's flying in here. I'll try to knock one out real quick, or as many as I can. Let's see here. All right, we got Dan O'Neill. He was the first one in the chat tonight. We appreciate it. Dennis B, Ranger 10, Cody Fowler, Guy Comet, Indy Irish, Sam Gal, Micah, Peter K, Cody, Keenan. Of course, we got 1776 and KS. Big Daddy G, Alaskan Ballistics. I'm Not Will Rogers, Pistol Pete, Keenan, Logan, Shooting with Uncle Dan. Dave Gass. If I'm missing anybody, Wheeled and Well Armed. Got a bunch of the Ohio Gun Gear or Gear Guy. Peter K, Pewview, Red October, C. Kim, Music Lover, GMC Texas. He's a first timer. GMC Texas is a first timer. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. But yeah, is there anything? I mean, have y'all seen a lot of ammo coming back in stock since all of this stuff has been happening? I know a lot of your stores aren't open 17, but
yeah, there's nothing open.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got ammo at Centerfire, but I have not seen it necessarily get replenished on the shelves. However, some of the stores, they're not open now. Around here, Bass Pro, Cabela's, they all can stay open because they sell firearms, but only on the Kansas side. I think on the Missouri side, they were saying no, not so much. But the gun ranges, they can stay open. They're fine, and they have what they have. I guess I don't know if anybody else is having issues or not, but I mean, everybody got cleared out. I mean, it was basically within a week, the shelves just went dry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what we saw too. But they've started to get more and more back in that I'm seeing, and the prices. I mean, they're still high. If you look at some, like the 1,000-round box of CCI, that used to be like $169, $189. I saw it posted today for $309.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, okay. But I mean, it is what it is. People are going to buy it. So, but at least it's not $900. Like some places have been trying to get out of people. But anything that any new guns or firearms or anything that you guys have seen that you're excited about or anything like that?
I was hoping that everybody who watches tonight, if you guys can go and hit up Excess Sights and tell them that you want them to make either the DXT2s or the RAM sights for the APX line. So I left a comment for them today on Instagram saying, yes, please make them for the APX. And they said, well, if we get enough demand from people, then we absolutely will. So then, of course, I posted something telling people to do it. So I'm asking everybody to please hit up Excess Sights, whether it's on Instagram or, just emailing them directly and tell them you want them. I'm actually working as a PR person for Beretta on this APX, man, because nobody else is doing it. So that'd be awesome. It's a great pistol. I was playing around with it today and I still love it. I think it's such a good, well-made handgun that has just gone invisible, but they're super cheap right now. So if you guys want them, get them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sandpaper Pistol Grips just bought him a 97 BD. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, great pistols.
Sandpaper. What's up, man? Haven't heard from him in a while.
Haven't seen him in a while. Yeah. Hope everything's well.
You're doing well, buddy.
Yeah. 550. People grabbing some stuff. And Big Daddy G, he's talking about the PC charger looks interesting.
Yeah, I like that. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it does.
Completely illegal for me.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if you could have, like somebody, and I've said this before, but anything that takes Glock mags, if you carry a Glock on your person, it kind of makes sense to maybe carry that as a small PDW. That way you've got, you can use the same mag, same ammo, all that good stuff. So that's never a bad thing. But what about you, 17? Anything that you're seeing?
No, I've just been, like kind of just drooling at new lever action rifles. I'm starting to get really back into them a lot. I want KS. What is your Marlin? What is it? What's the caliber of that Marlin?
It's a 357 38 special.
How do you like that?
I'll tell you what, 38 special suppressed doesn't make a sound.
Yeah, I heard it's completely silent. Almost.
It's totally quiet. It's almost movie quiet. It's incredible, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. Big Johnson has shot it. It's just a lot of fun. I
could shoot it all day.
I was going back and forth between the 357 or a 44 mag, but I'm not sure which one. That's the next one on my list, but I'm not sure.
44 mag is fun, but when it comes to ammo expense and, that also the 357 and 38, allows you to shoot two different rounds, but it's literally like shooting. I mean, I was just like, there's no recoil. I mean, there's no nothing. It's just fun as hell. I could shoot that damn thing all day. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I've only had the 30-30, and I've shot a 30-06, of course, and I've shot the 357-38, but I've never owned one. And I was saying, if I was going to get another lever action, that's what I would really want, would be that. And having the thread barrel and that kind of stuff, I mean, in a free state, it's also a bonus. The trap or the side loader, I would probably take it out and, polish it up because it is pretty tight. I know over a period of time it can loosen up, but it was giving my thumb a go loading that thing. It's a pinch point, but that's just, that's going to wear in time. But I would probably take it apart and try to polish it a little bit smoother. But it's a freaking awesome rifle. I love the hell out of it.
Well, Ranger Point Precision actually has a good feed ramp. If you guys are interested, it reduces the amount of poundage by, I think it's like a half a pound to load it now with one of those. So I looked at those too.
And it's cool running it with a can because you can run it with 9mm can, 45 can, anything like that, anything with a 1/2 by 28 thread pitch. I mean, it's pretty universal and it just kind of looks cool. It looks kind of like a zombie gun. That's probably my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been happy with the one I have. I got it in the 30-30, the Dark Series, but I haven't had a chance to get out and shoot the damn thing. So I was playing around with that a little bit today. I actually ordered, from Midwest Industries. I actually ordered from Optics Planet, the M-Lock rail, the M-Lock front end for it. So, kind of modernize it a little bit, but still keep it somewhat traditional, I guess, in the rear. But I love it. I still love lever action. I think that's probably my favorite rifle. If I had to grab one and go, that would be one of them because they're extremely reliable, and they're just good to shoot. They're fun to shoot. They're easy to carry. It's just a good rifle.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is Spec Ops. Is this his? I don't see Spec Ops,
that's him.
but I think that's him. Yeah. Good to see you, man. But yeah, and that's why like what he's talking about. It's time to fall in love with a lot of the firearms. You push to the rear. And that is, a very good point because that's kind of what I've done is, try to modernize or, upgrade or customize a lot of the guns that I just wanted a little better, and it makes me even enjoy them more. So if you've got some guns like that, you're like, well, I don't really love this gun anymore. If you can make it yours or do a little bit of changes to it, hell, that might become your, new favorite firearm that you've owned, and you don't have to sell it and try to grab the next thing. And, we've all been through this, when you're looking at new things to buy, just because it has like a different color or something like that, or, so to say the old saying, putting lipstick on a pig, how much better are you going to be with that next firearm that you're not with now? So, but making it a little more modern or adding, whether it be a red dot or different sights or different grips or, mag capacity or whatever it is, that can change a lot on a gun too. Mm-hmm. But
it's kind of interesting to know how the industry is now. I can't see a tremendous amount of people still buying firearms. I mean, I'm sure there are, but right now, just because of the unemployment rate being so high and everything, I wonder how bad the firearms industry is being hit by this too.
Well, they had a nice uptick for about 10 seconds, and now you're exactly right. It has slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I was going to say, they went out gangbusters, and hell, some of them probably maxed out, their first quarter, their, probably finished their second quarter goals already. Some of them did. So, and I know a lot of those were back ordered, where people paid for them and still ordered them, and they were waiting for them to come in. So, I think we're still going to see people buying them. Maybe not as dramatic, but I don't think people are going to totally just give them up either. Right. I think it's still going to be a demand for certain pistols, maybe not super, super high end. But then again, a lot of people, when they get those checks or whatever they do, some people might spend it on guns and ammo too, that they couldn't buy during the first, grab either, that still need their protection for their families. So.
Sure. Now, I must say, some of the firearms that are out there, the more expensive ones, I think those are going to take a big hit. I mean, think about it. Like, who was it? Walther just put out another steel frame, that Q4. It was a cool looking gun. I've got the Q5 steel frame and I love it. But that, what is it? $1,400-$1,500.
Yeah.
that's going to be a tough sell when people are, looking for tourist G2Cs and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
sure. And I think that's also, a part of where maybe this is, again, maybe there's a positive in this where the industry starts to kind of redirect its focus instead of making, and again, they're not going to stop completely, but maybe redirect the focus into a more affordable yet quality handgun. So instead of you coming out with a $1,400, 800-pound steel frame 4-inch PPQ, you're going to develop something that is more, more to the majority of people, that's affordable, more utilitarian, so to speak. Because, I like, for me, you guys know how I am. I'm super cheap with guns. I just could never see dropping that kind of money on a PPQ. And, I got this Icarus frame on the 320 X carry, and people were giving me shit about that for the price of them. But if you do the math and you look to see what happens when you stipple and you Cerakote and you do all these other fancy things, it's even more expensive than the lower on this thing. And it's an aluminum frame, so I'd rather have an aluminum handgun. But that's me. It'd be interesting to see how they're going to redirect stuff after this, when I hope this is over soon. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how everybody kind of reinvents themselves in the market, so to speak.
Yeah, Red's got a question. Does this all drive down the market for service rendered guns sales and other things that people sell?
Well, drive down the market. What do you mean by that? Like, we expect the used market to be flooded in the next 6 months to a year. So does that mean that prices will go down? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, yeah, probably for used guns. I mean, if all of a sudden there are 8 different Smith & Wesson shields to choose from in the cabinet, they're going to have to lower their prices.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say, Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I think it's going to be depending on the market. So like for example, New York, I can tell you right now, there's nothing in these shops. Before everything closed down, everything was gone. I've never seen, it was like the gun apocalypse.
Yeah.
Everything was gone, right? So then you have to think about when everything reopens, are they going to repurchase all that stock? Because for us in New York, it's different than, let's say, you guys. So you may have an overage of stock where we have nothing. So now all of a sudden they're going to just re-inventory everything and keep their prices just where they're at, if not even raise them, because now they know, or I should say, hopefully the citizens of New York realize the importance of having these firearms around. So I think we're going to suffer on the back end of it, while you guys probably will actually benefit, which I think would be interesting to see.
And that's kind of what I was going to say. It's going to depend on the markets, because if gun stores completely ran out of everything and they can't get new stock in, they're going to have to pay more for used guns in order to have, items in their store to provide them for their customers, which in turn is probably going to raise that price for the consumer. I'm talking about some markets, not ours. We've got guns out the wazoo and still coming in, but that could cause something like that. But, and then again, you might have people that keep these guns. I'm not saying everybody will, but all these purchases, people might have just went out and bought a whole ton of guns to kind of pilfer through what they really like or want to keep. And then they're planning on getting rid of some of them, which is going to hurt them when they do the trade-in. Some stores, are going to rape them pretty good, but I don't know, man. We're going to have to see a lot of this stuff come out in the wash and just see how people react to it, and gun stores react to it, and consumers. I mean, this is kind of a different question. What would you choose for your home protection? 45 cal pistol. He's got the question mark. So looking serious at the FNX 45 tactical. So I guess he's asking if he has to get a 45 or that's his preference. What would y'all pick?
I mean, if it's only home defense, you want reliability, but you're not going to use it often enough, I'd get the cheapest thing I can find. The FNX 45 TAC is an expensive handgun. So I think on that regard, I would consider an M&P 2.0 45 cal and the 4 1/4 inch, because that baby's going to sit in your safe. So why spend a lot of money on that? Now, if you're going to carry it every day, go for it. But I would always be, why spend a ton of money when you can buy a real reliable 45 for probably a third of the price,
Yeah. What about you, Kid?
I think it also depends on what you're after. I mean, the FNX 45, it's got the threaded barrel and some of those extra options, extra frills. So, I mean, if you want some of that stuff, if you want it incorporated in your firearm, maybe that's the right direction. But I would echo 17 and say, if you're just looking to pick up I guess in this case a polymer 45 that can be for home defense or whatever, there are some other options at half the price that I think are just as good. Again, they might not have some of those options, but they're good. The M&P is a good one. Glocks, they've got options. I mean, they're just about every brand, big brand, has some sort of option in 45.
Yeah. I actually have the FNX 45, not the tactical anymore. I just have the FNX regular 45. And I'm a big fan of that pistol. It does have the highest capacity of a 45, it's got a huge capacity where the others only have 10+1. This one's 16+1. But I mean, they're great firearms. They work good. Does give you the double action, single action, if you don't feel comfortable about carrying a striker fire. So you've got some differences there. But I mean, I've never had a problem with a Smith & Wesson or a Glock or even a FNX. So it really comes down to your preference. A lot of people say the FNX is really too bulky in their hand. So that's something, if you haven't put your hands on it, please do and see if it fits you. But I really like it. So it's just my opinion. But get what works for you and what you like. Let's see here. Someone was saying something.
So if you guys were not aware, the Phantom was discontinued again by CZ.
Was it?
They discontinue that every 2 years, don't they?
Yeah. Well, again, you got the P09 and the Phantom, both polymer guns. I know that the firearms guy made a video on that. And he's right. Why compete against yourself? But I still think the Phantom, and I know you don't feel this way, Big J, but I still think the Phantom is a better gun. For me, it worked better.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. It's a shame they discontinued. It's such a nice gun.
Yeah, they are nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the gun. I just think for my hands, and this is just different. The slide is just, it's kind of the way it's rounded. Sure. I like more of a larger squared slide just for my hands. But I mean, I shot them and there's nothing wrong with them. They work great, and they do have the compatibility of having this regular 75 mag. So nothing wrong with them at all.
If you're a big SPO1 fan, just the traditional SPO1, then the Phantom is definitely the way to go. If you don't have that tie to the SPO1, it might be the PO7 or PO9 that's up your alley.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Because they really are different. I mean, they're similar because they're polymer, but they're different in shape.
Yep.
And I think that's what I always, because again, my first gun was the P01, so it falls on that line. And the PO7 is great, man. I was considering buying another one, but you know how that is, guys. I got problems. But maybe it'll happen in the future. I'm not sure, but I still think that the Phantom just hit all the numbers for me right. Like you said, the compatibility of the magazines is huge because they're so cheap and they're so available.
Yeah. Thank you, Logan. Logan gave $2 to the cause, so we appreciate it so much.
He had
not asking a question. He's saying a little gift for us, so we appreciate it so much.
Actually, he did have a follow-up question. Take a look a few lines down.
Let's see here.
Any new guns you guys are thinking of buying?
Oh, okay. Okay. What guns are you thinking of buying?
Cass, what are you thinking about buying?
Well, I've got 3 on the list, and this list will probably be around for a very, very long time. 2 of them, of course, the Dan Wesson DWXs, both of those, or we may never see them. Who knows? So that'll be a list that just sits out there for a long time, and we get a laugh out of it periodically. But then the STI Staccato C2, the double stack version, I really want to try that out. That looks pretty cool, but the order was placed at the end of December, and I still don't have it. So I don't know when that one's coming in either. So might be a while before new gun trickles in.
Okay.
Interesting.
What about you?
For me, it's weird because I'd like to try to get my hands on the Shield 4-inch with the optic. That to me is an intriguing gun still. That's one. 2 is I definitely want to buy another lever action. So that's definitely going to happen. That's probably going to happen before any handgun right now. just because, like I said, it's very. I don't even know if they're running NICS checks in New York right now. I don't even know if they're doing that.
Wow.
Because gun shops are supposed to be closed, and I don't know how they could do it from New York if they're closed. But that's a whole nother situation. And then the third one, if I could, I mean, I like that Dan Wesson, the compact version. That would be one high end gun that I would blow money on. But again, I probably won't. But I definitely have been looking at that Archon again. So that's a possibility as well.
Yeah. Mine is definitely the full size DWX. Not so interested in the compact one. I mean, I'm interested in putting my hands on it, but from what I'm seeing, I think it's going to be more like the P01, which I would rather have the full size. Just personally, I think they're both going to be great guns. But again, when are they going to come out? Who knows? It is what it is. When they come out, they come out. But other than that, I mean, I am loving my the Savage B22 Performance, that 22 LR. That thing is freaking fun as hell. Really, really enjoying it. And there's not really anything else that is just super blowing my socks up. I'm not saying there couldn't be whenever they release more guns. Maybe they've been kind of holding back, but so far the DWX full size I'm still wanting it. Even though I would have to have it milled, or I would want it eventually milled for carry optics or to put an optic on it. But, I think it's a good option. But, and it does take the P10F mags, which I have tons of those. We're talking about the EAA Witness, great budget, double action, single action. It's available in 9, 40, 45, and 10 millimeter. And yeah, those are, in the polymer frame. And I have the Tanfo stock too, which is a great pistol. I really love it. But do y'all have any experience with the EAA, the polymer ones?
No. I mean, I've shot the Rock Island, that MAP series gun, which is basically one of the polymer EAAs, but no. And really, technically, I also, and even though it was a steel frame, but even the Magnum Research, their guns are basically EAA guns. IWI, same thing,
I've shot the 9 millimeter one, the polymer one, and then the 10 millimeter one. And I mean, it wasn't bad. The trigger, the sights, need some work, but I think, shooting it more and more and more, other than the sights, I don't care for the sights. They remind me of the standard P01 sights. They're really tiny, but I mean, it works. It went bang every time. Both of them did. So, if that works for you, grab them. Let's see here. Are y'all going to change? This is, a question we get asked a little bit. Are y'all going to, where did it go here? He was asking about the summer carry. Are y'all going to change anything up for your summer carry? And I know that we've talked about this in the past, but.
I have the P365. Everybody knows. I still have yet to shoot the damn thing, but I've carried around the house, and I know that's a big no-no. Never carry a gun you don't shoot, but whatever. And it's in my house. I don't plan on shooting my dogs, but I considered carrying that because it's so small. But I'll be honest with you guys, I'm really hung up on it. I don't really know what to make of the gun yet, and I think I won't know until I've actually shot it. But I'll be honest with you, at this point, playing around with it, holding it, carrying it, I just am still not I'm not sold on the gun yet. And, for me, it's just I feel much more comfortable carrying a compact gun. I just feel more comfortable doing it. I don't dress with tight shirts and tight jeans, so I can conceal it. I don't have any problem concealing it. So for me, that's never been an issue. But I've got some reservations about it. It's one thing to go to a range, throw it on a table, and then shoot at static targets. But from deep concealment, or maybe not so deep concealment, maybe from an outside waistband holster or something like that, just trying to get a good grip on that, like I'm finding, to me, that's my biggest hang up on the gun. And I've adjusted the holsters for the highest ride height. And I don't know, man, so for me, I'm probably not going to be changing much. I'm probably going to go back to carrying a compact or subcompact, like the 2.0 subcompact, which for me works great. I have no problem carrying that gun. But I think that's where I'm going to probably stay and gravitate towards.
What about you, KS?
Remind me the question again. I was listening to him just talk about the 365.
It was. Are you going to change your gun up for
Oh,
some
yeah.
carry?
Sorry. No. In fact, right now I've been carrying the 43X a lot, both inside the waistband and actually outside the waistband. I've got one of Harry's outside the waistband holsters, and that's been incredibly comfortable. But I rotate between that Glock 26 and then the 365 XL. Those are kind of my mainstay carry guns. But the 43 seems to be the most used of them. Just picked up the 15 round Shield magazines and the thumb release, the magazine release, and so I'm excited to try that out. But yeah, I don't really plan on changing very much. My rotation stays pretty similar all year round.
Yeah. I have, I mean, the smallest gun I'll ever carry is my Shield. However, I do prefer compact guns at least. Like we've talked about before on other chats and stuff, in a panic situation, I feel that a smaller gun, if you're carrying an appendix or maybe a different position on your body, I feel in a panic situation, a smaller grip is something easier to miss potentially for a big-handed person. That's just my opinion. Yours can vary, but I want to reach down and know that I'm grabbing that gun and not fishing for it or trying to grab it. I just feel more comfortable with at least a compact or a full-size pistol. These are personal preferences, but that's my opinion on it. It's just too small for me. Even the XL grip, I've held it in my hand, and it does help a lot, but it's just still, and the Shield, I've practiced with it. I've had it a lot, but I haven't carried it in a long time. So again, if I decided to put that into a carry, I would want to practice with it a lot. And there's something about the Shield grip. It's a little longer, and I run extensions on mine, the +2 extension, so it even makes it longer. But with like the standard 7-round, no, it's too small. Even the Shield is. So.
Yeah, and again, I think it, and C. Kim said it's a mental thing, and it probably is. It really is, But I've been drawing from concealment, and I just it just. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when I go down to grab the gun, and I've had it in the appendix and I've had it on my strong side, but either way, when I go down to grab the gun, I'm not feeling like my hand is centered on the back of that grip. And it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. So like if I grab a gun, as soon as I go and I grab a gun, can I show them a frame? Is a frame allowed? I don't even know. I don't want to do it on the channel.
Probably not.
But
yeah,
so like right now I have the Wilson's combat frame for the 320 in my hand. There's no gun attached to it, it's just the lower. But when I was going to draw on this, my hand centers perfectly, no issues. On the P365, it feels like my grip is off to the right a little bit, so I actually have to readjust it. And I think that's where my hang up is. But again, that's probably more me. But I totally understand why so many people like that gun and why there's such a good following for it, just because of the damn size of it. It's tiny and it has great capacity. But, some things don't work for everybody, and I'm just not sure this is going to be a workable thing for me.
No. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing about trying different things and seeing what you like and what you're used to, or what you prefer. So that is that is something. I mean, if you're gonna back to his original question, way back on the 45. I mean, the Shield 45 is very controllable. It's very shootable. If you want a small 45 pistol, I would recommend the Shield 45 pretty highly. I actually kind of forgot about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because C. Kim just says, try the X Compact. I actually have one. I to me, that's the perfect fit. It's the grip is very narrow, but not overly narrow, and it's tiny. I'd say it's a little bit, just slightly smaller than a Glock 19 because the Glock 19's mag kind of dips out a little bit. But the X Compact, the RXP is to me that is they got it right with that gun. It really is a good, solid build. It really is.
We got a lot of people asking if I'm wearing a 1776 shirt because apparently we didn't plan this either. We all have blue shirts on.
Well, it's funny because I think there's only been 3 of those shirts sold, and I bought all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So he definitely does not have it.
Mine is a gun shirt, but it's not 1776's shirt.
This ran for about approximately 5 days, and that was the end of it. So.
Yeah. So, and I mean, and that's the thing, we have so many different choices now. Even if you were to go into a gun store, And I mean, make sure the gun's unloaded, whatever, you could kind of hold it in your carry position, or maybe they had a holster, or you could just kind of stick it in the side of your waistband so it wouldn't fall out. You could try it. Maybe they would let you do that, but, or maybe they could take you into an area where it's safe to do that. But, that's one thing you could try to see if it's going to work for you or get an idea of it. But, one thing's not going to work for everybody. If you've got XXL hands, a small gun doesn't work. So,
and the thing too is, like, after carrying all these guns, like the 43X, the 48, the Shield for years, now this 365, the PPS M2, I still think the two best ones, even though they don't have the capacity by far by the, oh, that's nice. We've got a total dipshit on our chat.
Oh, dang, man.
So here's what I'd say, not liarez. Go back to your mom's basement, because that's pretty sure that's where you belong, because you're a fucking loser. So anyway, getting back to where we were talking about, so I look at all those single stacks. To me, the Shield and the 43X, I think, are still the best.
Yeah.
I still think that.
What about you, KS?
I mean, I would probably echo that. I think they're fantastic firearms. I really do. I mean, I still have my Shield. Admittedly, I don't really carry it as much these days, but it's still a fantastic gun, and it's a workhorse. And it was my go-to for a long, long time. So there's a reason they've sold so many of them. Yeah,
and out of like the 43 or the 43X and the 43 and then the 48, if I were to choose one of those, if it was going to be a Glock, it would be the 48 for me. And I know that, they have the same length and everything, but the 48, for some reason, it feels a little larger in my hand. I know it has a longer slide, but it just feels a little better in my hand between those two. But that's just me personally. I've shot the 43X. I've shot Humble Marksman's, and I shot it fine. But just having a little larger gun for me, I think, would be better.
Mm-hmm. But have you guys seen any of them with rails on them, the 43X or the 48?
No.
I don't think I have.
Because I thought they were supposed to release them. Weren't they supposed to release those?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't remember if the 48, does it? I mean, I can't remember if it has a rail or not, does it?
Oh,
no,
okay.
It's got that little hole for the front sight in the,
okay.
lower part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Wheel and Well Armed, I know that we've actually talked about this gun, and he's brought it up a couple of times. The Bull Armory SAS2 Viper, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a small, like a smaller compact 2011 style. It's got the comp. It's got a red dot, the small red dot. But that thing is freaking awesome. And Wheel and Well Armed put 50% down on one. I guess he ordered it, but those guns are insane. They're made by Bull Armory, and man, I've seen a couple of reviews on them, and I mean, when that comp's working, it's seriously working. And I was very impressed with the video of the gun. I don't have anybody that carries them in my area, but it looks pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, they make good guns. I've never heard a bad thing about them.
Yeah, I've seen people who have shot, been shooting them, and I think they're becoming a little more popular. From what I understand, I think somebody opened up in Miami, and they're carrying them, and somebody in Vegas, I think, is carrying them. So they're trying to get more and more of them into the States, and there could be more distributors for them. But they look pretty badass. So, but let's see here. Yeah, and music has brought this up, and I know that I've brought it up too. Apex is actually working on a 5-inch FN 509 slide that has, red dot capability. It's got slide mills. It's got all that good stuff. And they're also coming out with a shield for the Smith & Wesson, where you can buy this, I think it's a 4 or 4.5 inch slide, and it's already milled and everything. And you put it right over onto your shield. And that's pretty cool. I think offering things like that, where you can just do it, a drop on straight on your gun, is a pretty cool option too. So you don't have to go buy a complete new gun. Now, I'm sure they're not going to be super cheap, but they're going to be milled and everything ready to go. And and it's not a part that has to be serialized. So you could just order it, ship it to your house, and put it on your gun and run it. So I think that's pretty badass. Here you go. Here's one for y'all. What are your thoughts on the Springfield 9mm XDS?
Well, so we did the XDS mod too. I actually didn't mind that gun. There were some things I really liked about it. I thought it was put together very well. It had nice sights. I did not like that trigger even 1%. It was way too heavy, and but even beyond that, to me it wasn't a clean break, and that's the bigger deal to me. I don't mind a little heavier trigger as long as it's clean and crisp and all that. I know these are weird terms to talk about with triggers, but that's how we say it. But yeah, that thing was bordering on 7 pounds, and I don't mind a carry gun being a little heavier, but come on, that was too much.
Yeah.
What's
your opinion?
Comparing the first generation versus the second one, there were a lot of people who like it and all that other stuff. But I look at it from the standpoint of the Mod 2 was nice. It was nicely built. I mean, I have to say Springfield guns are very well built up. They're good guns from the construction point of view. But like Kaya said, the trigger was god awful. And they also changed the grip safety. So there was like a little bit of almost like an arrow point at the back of that grip safety. So every time you drove your hand into it, it just dug into the webbing of your hand, which I thought was so weird because the other grip safety had a smooth back into it, which I thought was better. But they said it just supposedly makes it more easy to operate. But how's that possible? But it wasn't bad, but it wasn't for me. Like the trigger was just no good. It was just way too heavy. But I'm sure there'll be the trigger experts in this room saying, "Oh no, it's just you guys." No, it's the trigger on that.
Yeah. I have to say though, the Hellcat got better. It's not ideal, but they probably lightened it up a pound and a half, and that's something. So the Hellcat I don't mind as much.
Yeah, me personally, I've never been a huge Springfield XDS or XDM fan. If you're carrying a 1911. That's one thing to have a grip safety. I think it's unneeded on that gun. I know that's kind of their little claim to fame with having 4 safeties on a gun. I just think it's overkill. But I've shot them. I've never owned one. Did I miss that grip safety like to where I couldn't engage it? No. Have I missed them on a 1911 before? Yes, because of the way my hand's built. But to each their own. I know people who love them and I know people who hate them and I know people are middle on the road on them, but they're just not for me personally. But, if you like it and you own it and you shoot it good, hell, keep it. Buy it if that's what you want. Let's see here. What all have we missed? Have y'all seen any questions? I want to try to answer as many as we can.
Yeah, there was one a little while ago. Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. So I can't remember who said it. Might have been Floridian, saying if what would be your, and I don't remember the exact question, but basically, what would be your one gun for a bug out gun? I thought that was a pretty good question.
Okay, Young, go ahead. What would be y'all's bug out gun? If you had to pick one.
The Glock 19.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say that or a 26, either one. I'd be good with either one because they're by and large interchangeable, swappable as far as parts, magazine. It's the same story over and over again. The parts are plentiful and they tend to run.
Yeah, mine would be the Glock 19X, just because, like we've talked about, plenty of parts available now with being a Gen 5. Some things aren't completely compatible, but mags is usually going to be your number one failure. So the mags will work. Even if I had to break the tab off, I could get it in there. Matter of fact, my tab has been trimmed, so it'll fit all mags now. Or trimmed back this way. It wasn't removed. We just took some girth off the back of it for that reason. But yeah, it would be a Glock just because if that's the gun I've got, it's going to be compatible with what everybody else has out there.
Yeah.
So let's see here.
LZ was asking about the 19X, and he was saying, "Does anyone still like the 19X?" He says,
Yes.
"It's my overall go-to. Shit hit the fan, especially with a 33 round mag."
Yep.
I do. I mean, so I've got several rugged Obsidian 9s, and one is an FDE, and it goes right on my 19X. It's a dedicated can gun. That's all it is. It just stays on there, and it runs like a top. It loves being suppressed. It's a fun gun.
Yeah. No, I mean, my Glock works great, the 19X, and that's my favorite Glock. Probably will continue to be until if they come out with something similar. But it's also been customized to my liking. It's not your out of the box one. But could I shoot an out of the box one? Yes. Would it be preferable? No. But it is what it is. Okay, and Floridian has no rifle versus handgun, and I'm assuming he's meaning, since we talked about what's your go-to pistol, what would your would it be, a rifle or handgun if you ran out the door?
Well, the thing is, and there's nothing wrong with rifles or even shotguns, but if you need to run out the door and for whatever reason you need to be discreet, you got to. I mean, for me, the handgun is discreet the second you walk out the door. There's no pre-planning. You have to worry about bags or ditching it somewhere or anything like that. That's the reason why I gravitate towards a handgun. It can be on you and nobody would ever know. If you've got a shotgun or even a short barrel AR rifle or something, it's harder to conceal. It just is.
I look at it as go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
you first.
I look at it as if shit's going down, okay, I don't care who sees what I have. I really don't. And I've got a sling on my AR pistol, so I can still carry my carry gun where I need it in the appendix, and I can throw an AR pistol over my neck. But with the bag, the way I've got mine set up is in the AR pistol bag, the carry bag, the Lynx defense bag, it's got the AR mags in it. It's got it's a quick, sling that you can pull over, and it's got mag pouches in it. And it even has mags for the gun that I'm carrying, for pistols. So everything's there, and it's kind of a quick go bag. And, I'm not going to be taking 500-yard shots, hopefully, but, I think the AR pistol will get what I need to get done, 10.5-inch barrel. That's just my opinion. What about you, 17?
I mean, if I had to leave, I'm taking a handgun and a rifle, but I'm going to take something that, is easy to carry. Also somewhat easy to conceal too. Like I said, I would always carry a lever action, especially the new Marlin I got, because I just think it's what you need at that particular moment. I mean, at least for me, that works best for me.
Yeah. And this is a question I've actually been asked, and he's not by him, but he's actually asking it. Why bug out? Stay home and defend it. And I've been asked that. So, what's y'all's opinion on that?
It depends on the situation. There may be situations where you need to bug out. I mean, so for me, if I need to go and be with like my parents or my sister's family or something like that, I'm bugging out. The house is just a house. I get the premise behind it, and I totally understand Wield. I totally get that. But if somebody else needs me and I have, let's say, the tools to be able to maybe help out, like some of the firearms and that sort of thing, I'm gone. I'm gone in a heartbeat, and I'm packed and ready to go. And hopefully the house will be here when I get back. But if it isn't, so be it. So yes, ideally I would rather be here because I know the house, I know the territory, I've got all my stuff here. But if I had to bug out, so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your opinion,
same belief. I mean, there's people who I know that have a better facility to be more secure in. For example, a full basement. I don't have a full basement in my house. So my mom and dad have a full basement, which would be where I'd go. They have solar power. I don't have solar power, so there's all things that maybe make you choose what's a better location than your own home. But again, it's always based on circumstance. I mean, if you don't have any choice and you've got to stay at your home, defend it. Defend it to the end, because if not, whoever's there with you, they're going to either hurt, take care of, or do something worse. But I think it's all based on the dependency of what you're looking at,
Yeah, and I think the same thing. It's going to depend on the scenario. If you've got a bunch of looters outside of your house with Molotov cocktails, good luck. Houses will burn. So, if you've got to get the hell out of there and go to a safer area or whatever, it's all going to depend on that, SHTF, or, you got people surrounding your home. You never know what, I'd drive over them if I had to get out. So, but, there's all kinds of different scenarios. And can you always be prepared for everything? You think you can, but sometimes you can't. Just like what's going on right now. None of us thought this ever would have happened.
Right, right. Well, and Ranger and Harry are making good points. There's also Mother Nature. So maybe it's a fire or a tornado or something like that. I mean, you got to bug out. You got to go somewhere else. It might not necessarily be a shit hit the fan situation. It might just be a something you simply can't avoid.
Yeah, and like in some areas, in different parts of even Texas and Oklahoma and stuff, we have tornadoes and stuff like that, but we don't have basements, or a lot of us don't. So, that's where you have to get into the storm cellar, if you have one, and some areas have it. We're not even zoned for them. But, you just got to protect yourself in different situations, the best to your ability anyway, and be prepared. Yeah, and here's another one. The current situation has me thinking about the volume of guns. If I had to bug out, I can't take all these damn guns.
Who says you can't?
Yeah. Should I just gain proficiency with a few? What's y'all's opinion on that?
17?
You think about it. Look, most of my guns are handguns, but I've got a lot of rifles too. And I've got a big bag. Yeah. So all that shit's coming. It doesn't take much to throw all your handguns in a bag. Throw that in the back of a truck or something, grab all your ammo. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of ammo and ammo cans.
Yeah.
So that's coming with me. Rifles, I'll grab all of them. I don't care if they're falling out of my hands as I'm running out of the house, but I'm throwing them all back. So I'm going to take everything and anything I can, depending on time. If we're talking like you have a day's notice, all that stuff is coming with me. If we're talking like 15 minutes, I'm going to try to grab all that stuff with me. But I think it's all based on circumstance. But I don't think you can ever say to yourself, not be proficient with a few. I think you have to be. There are some guns that I own that I'm much more proficient than others, but that's because I use them, I carry them more often than other guns. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag where you have to be proficient with some of them, maybe not all of them, but definitely some of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. As far as the proficiency thing, there are a few guns that I know. I know that I'm very proficient in. I can make them work. I can take them apart in the dark. The whole 9 yards there. Same thing with either an AR or PDW, and a couple that I use quite often. Like the Seaman G Banshee. That's with me every day. I absolutely love that thing. I'm not carried with me, but it's close by anyway. And so proficiency, yes, gaining proficiency with a few, I call those the tools. Yeah, absolutely. But then, everything else, that's entirely up to you. I would be like 17. I would skip all the rest of this crap and I'd be packing up the guns and the ammo because I'm weird and I love guns. They make me more happy than anything else. But everybody has their own priorities there. Some people would say, forget it, grab what you need and run. But, I'd clean up.
I'll be very honest on my side. I'm not going through all my safes and there's no way I could get all that stuff out of there in 15 minutes. And now if I had a day's notice, I could load the truck bed up, but it's going to be full of guns and ammo or whatever I could get. But all the ammo, all the guns, all your, gun accessories, good luck with that. I'm just locking it up and hoping the safes do their jobs because.
Now, have you considered maybe making one safe like your bug out safe?
Your grab,
so that to go for that?
Yeah. I've got one is kind of situated like that, but when I get lazy or come home, and stuff, or start putting stuff up, I might sneak some stuff in there. But one is somewhat set up that I've got like the collector one and kind of stuff like that. But you would want to take them all if you have a large collection like that. If you don't, then, you might be able to chunk them all in some bags, but I would have to leave something because you got to get food, you got to get water, you got to get, you can't live on eating ammo. So, you can, and you got the guns, you can probably get what you need to if stuff that gets that bad, but I'm trying to be realistic here too.
And they also, depending on how you're bugging out too, some people were talking about weight. We're talking about walking away from the house or getting in like I have a Jeep. My Jeep will go through just about anything. Yeah. Do we take the Jeep? I'm taking the Jeep. I know that. But, I'm going to load that bastard up with as much as I can. Food, water, guns, ammo, toilet paper.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's the hot item, guys. Who needs guns and bullets when you have toilet paper?
That's right.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, there's just, there's things to think about, and I've even had, since this has happened, I've had some friends reach out and they're like, hey, I think I'm, going to thin down my collection, because if something happened, and they're probably reaching out to me saying, hey, you ought to do the same. But I think it's just, what you feel comfortable with and what you want to do. But yeah, you're definitely going to need guns and ammo, or, some guns and ammo. And that's like what we've talked about before. Having 2 or maybe even 3 of the same guns, is not bad because you've got the mags for them, and you're familiar with that firearm, and they all take the same ammo, same mags, so that's not a bad thing either to grab those items. Like hell, there's, KS, how many Glocks do you have right now?
So we're changing the subject.
Yeah, what I was going to say.
That's why I love the CMMG Banshee. And if I had to bug out the 26 or the 19, again, swappable mag. I mean, that same system, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. But, just having that, similarity or common parts, is not a bad thing either. So, but, definitely. Well, we're getting very close to the end of the chat. What do you guys have coming up, or what do y'all want to talk about before we close this out?
I got not much going on. I really would like to do a tabletop of the Marlin because I think it's a cool rifle that a lot of people would like to see it. But again, there's no shooting allowed right now, so that kind of blows.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things I'm thinking of doing in regards to just gun videos. I might be posting a video questioning Beretta a little bit. But we'll see. I'm sure that'll get a lot of hate. What a surprise. I've actually considered buying another CCP M2 and making another video on that gun because they're, I hear they're like $1.50 right now, but we're going to see. So I may choose to do that at some point in late this year. But, I just want to say to everybody, just stay safe, and keep practicing. I hate this term, social distancing, and I know some people don't believe in this stuff. But I do, because I know people who are affected by it directly. And, obviously I don't want to see anything happen to any of you guys or your families, because it's the real deal, man. There's a lot of people who are suffering because of this, not just from the sickness, but also on the economic side. So I know that there's a lot of stress and strain on a lot of families. Obviously I would like to see everybody be healthy and successful, but I think we just need to be patient. Hopefully we'll get tested, everybody in the state of New York, so we can get back to work. But I other than that, I just wish you all the best. That's it.
What's your KS?
Yeah, that was well said. First, it's great to see everybody here. It's so fun to see all the familiar avatars and names and that sort of thing. It's a great family here, and you guys have been sticking with this for a very, very long time. So that's awesome. And you fellas, it's great to see you guys too. I'm glad you guys are hanging in there. Can and yeah, everybody just try and stay safe and healthy. Let's get through this crap so we can get things back to normal again, get people back to work and get lives back to normal. I'm going to go to a restaurant. It's the first thing I'm going to do. I don't care what restaurant it is. I just want to go eat food out. That'll be a lot of fun. But,
I know. I want to get Chinese food so bad, but I'm so scared.
Yeah,
I'm so scared of Chinese food right now.
You can't say that word anymore. That's not right.
I think it would be anything but that right now. No offense, I'd even go Mexican food, and I don't like Mexican food. I'm the only person in Kansas that doesn't. But anyway, everybody again, stay safe, stay healthy, and it's good to see you all.
Good, yeah, and I definitely want to thank KS for joining us this evening. Big treat, always good to see him, and I want to thank everyone for joining the chat. Out in the comment section, we've got a lot of great followers out there. Definitely subscribe to each other. Stay safe, healthy, well, thank truck drivers for bringing all your toilet paper and everything, to you, because that's a big deal. And we'll do this, again, of course, next week, next Wednesday, we'll do it, and appreciate y'all so much. And, I've already shot it and been enjoying it, but it is that Savage B22 Precision 22. But when I went, I told myself I wasn't going to film anything. But I got down in the prone, did everything, took a bunch of pictures of what I was doing, but I didn't film anything. So, it's probably going to be doing a review, showing it. If you want to see the targets, I've got pictures of it and that kind of stuff. But, I just wanted to give an opinion on that in case somebody's thinking about getting it. But that's kind of what I've got coming up and some other little gear things. But, just everyone stay safe out there. We appreciate y'all so much. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining this evening. And y'all have a great night. And leave those thumbs up, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
See you guys.
Carry on.